it's like a small story, In 1989, I think, during the Intifada, I met a judge, a Palestinian judge. He came to me and we drank coffee together, and he told me his story. He said, I have a son who is handicapped, and I live in the old city, and in the old city you can't take him by car, so I have to carry him on my back. Doing that, I always feel that I'm carrying my cross on my back. So after he left, I got the idea. As a people, we have a big cross on our backs.
Over the past 50 years, you've become internationally recognized as a pioneer in Arab art, with your exceptional and moving images of Palestinian struggle, but also hope. I want to first start with your childhood. You were born in Bir Zayt in Palestine in 1947. How would you describe your general childhood, how you were brought up, or if you have any specific memories?
If you ask anybody, he will tell you that his childhood was so beautiful, and and all the people they yearn for their childhood memories and so on. For me, I think it was also the same. I had a very beautiful childhood in Bir Zayt. I spent most of my time in the olive groves, and there were several swimming pools, natural pools. I lived in heaven at that time. My problem was that my father died when I was like 4 years old, and I remember we had a lot of financial problems, but I don't remember where. I used to eat good, and I used to have everything I wanted, but I know that we had financial problems.
At what age did you realize that you have the artistic talent and the passion for art?
Seems my mother and my family, they discovered that I had a talent. But the big push I had in becoming an artist was in my boarding school, when the house father was a German teacher, and noticed my talent, and he started encouraging me and showing me art books. He actually formed like a club of art in the school. So he taught us a lot how to work together, and this helped me a lot in the future, when I needed other artists to work together. So everybody went to Jerusalem, and they started making sketches. And there, I made a sketch of several things, but among these sketches, I made an old man carrying things on his back. And this painting, later I did it in a different way, and it became a very famous painting in the Arab world. He made several camping trips in Palestine, in the West Bank. And when you go and camp, you get to know your country better. You sleep on the ground, and you wake up early in the morning, you look around, and it creates a kind of love for the land.
Now young artists can use the internet and find any artist around the world and be inspired by their work. So how did you find, or how did any young artist in Palestine at that time find inspiration?
I can tell you that the artists in the West Bank and the occupied territories were living like in a ghetto, in a cultural ghetto, where we were influenced by the very few books that we could find around. There was the Communist Party, who had books from the Soviet Union, and I saw a book from Mexican artists, Diego Rivera and so on. And until now, I dream about that book. I loved it very much.
The general art scene in Palestine before the first Intifada, who were the leading figures, you'd say, in Palestinian art?
After the 67 war, there were actually no art exhibitions until 1971 or 2. An artist, he finished his studies in Egypt, and he made an exhibition in Jerusalem, Nabil Anani. I went to that exhibition to see it, and we became friends immediately. And some artists from Jerusalem, Ramallah also came to the exhibition. So we decided to establish a union, and we called it the Palestinian Artists League. The first exhibition was in Jerusalem in 1975. This exhibition also helped us to form an idea about what the people want to see. This exhibition moved to Ramallah and then to Nablus and then to Nazareth and then to Gaza. You know, we were young and we thought that we are revolutionary and we are part of the Palestinian revolution. Our connection with the people was very important for us. There was no infrastructure for art in the West Bank and Gaza. Even some places, some villages, some camps, they didn't have electricity. And so we thought the best way to reach the people, you know, is by printing our works. The soldiers, they also noticed this kind of attention of the art that we are doing. So they started confiscating the posters and the postcards and taking the people who sell them and find them. And then we opened the gallery in Ramallah. We called it Gallery 79. We started making exhibitions there, solo exhibitions, because it was a small place. So the soldiers started coming at the opening of every exhibition, and sometimes taking whatever they don't like affected our art also, because we used to smuggle our work in the car, and we developed a kind of art that is symbolic, so that people will understand what we mean and the soldiers will not understand.
What importance did it have to use the raw material in the art in terms of being closer to your land, in terms of having a stronger message about identity?
It gave me a kind of freedom to go and experiment new things, and that's what my colleagues also did.
Also, what's beautiful about your mud works, you've experimented so much with mud and also sometimes the cracks start to form in your pieces, in your self-portrait out of mud. You've done the shrinking object of the map with mud. So what's the significance of the cracks in your works?
In the beginning, I tried to close the cracks, trying to hide them, fill them. But I don't know how, but suddenly I realized these are beautiful, the cracks. So I thought that the cracks are symbolic also of the fragmentation of the land. There were many checkpoints and all the settlements and the confiscated land. And they are symbolic also of myself becoming old.
And what's really special about you is that you're a Palestinian artist and you're living in Palestine. First of all, what are the challenges in general as an artist living in Palestine under occupation? But also, what is the silver lining, the positive part that comes out of producing work when you're actually in Palestine?
This kind of atmosphere, if you don't live in Palestine under occupation, you will not get such ideas, you know. If you live here, you notice that there is a big difference between how people used to think and how people used to feel in the 70s and 80s and how people feel now. I mean, these people sitting on the beach is symbolic of how people, they like to live. The people who are marching, it's how the people, they like to do during that time. The best symbol for Bethlehem is Maryam and the child. So it gave me the idea of Bethlehem as a prison, like the wall, the soldiers, and the mother and the child.
Do you feel like your art changed people's perspective on what's happening in Palestine?
I hope. I hope. I would love to have my art make a change, you know, in the world about the Palestinians, because they want to dehumanize the Palestinians, you know, and I hope and I think my art helps a little bit of changing that idea.